Oh, hey, we're here again.
Oh my god!
I know it's been so long. No,
Right?
we are back once again for another episode of A Conversation with Kely. Episode 44, I believe. I lost count at this point. We're at 40 something. We're in the 40s.
Something like
Once
that.
again, talking about the final full week of The Circle. I know the finale is going on right now. We are going to watch it after this. Don't you worry. But we figured that we might as well talk about what went down in this last week. Of course, I am here with my lovely and beautiful co-host, Allie. How are you doing?
I'm good. Definitely getting tired, but I'm doing well, and I'm excited to talk about this week.
Yes. So I guess we'll just get into some of the background here. As you guys know, last week, I think we were just really not high on this season at all. We thought that it was like very middle of the road and things like that.
Yeah.
I will say though, this week was a little bit better. I feel like.
Yeah.
What did you think of this batch of episodes?
I actually thought this might be the best batch of episodes of this season. Besides, some of the gameplay was a little frustrating, but they were probably the best episodes overall.
Yeah, I mean, the issues that I have had with this season are very much still there. There isn't great gameplay going on, but I did feel that in general, this was just a more entertaining batch of episodes than the ones we've gotten. It also helped that there was a lot less Nick.
Game-wise, the two best players are Kay and Nick, but I'm not a Nick fan. But even they're not playing perfect games.
No, even they're not playing that great. Which, I mean, I guess we'll just get into it. So let's just get into everything that happened. We're going to try to get through this as quickly as possible because there are 4 episodes to talk about here.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off. And as we know, last week, the double blocking occurred. And Nick is talking about how like he's worried that he's going to lose anyone in the band. This could be the worst case scenario for him. And it seems like Daniel, however, is pretty set on blocking Jackson. He wants to make that happen. He knows that Jackson is a catfish and he wants Jackson out of there. He also doesn't feel that Isabella is really a big threat at all with her only getting number 7. So Daniel does go ahead and make his decision, which turns out to be Jackson. And Rachel's very disappointed to hear this, especially since she felt like she was finally getting into character. I'm just going to say she absolutely did this to herself. I feel like Rachel was so disappointing this season. I had such high hopes for her.
She's very bubbly and fun. She had so much potential, but she would have done so much better playing as herself.
Yeah, I was very let down by her pretty much the entire season. So Nick then makes his decision. He knows after this he has to take someone who is close to Daniel. He wants to keep Kay around, actually, in order to solidify an alliance, but he does decide to block Ruksana here. And once again, we get another one of the most likable people going out. It happens to be another POC, which I don't know what's going on there, Nick. Why do you like to target POCs? I don't know. But
that is so gross.
That seems to be something that he likes doing, and I'm really not here for it. But yeah, Ruksana and Rachel are the 2 people that are blocked in this double blocking, which the way everyone like reacted to Ruksana, I mean, Kay just seems so heartbroken after this because of the bond that they had. And again, Ruksana, I think there's a lot of people that weren't playing that well. I think she was one of the people that actually was playing very well because she was playing very under the radar. She was doing a lot of stuff. She recognized the threats. I think she had so much more to give in this game, and it really sucks that she went out here.
Yeah, Ruksana was, like you said, she was under the radar, and she's just very smart.
Oh, yeah. So it's now time for both of them to decide who they want to see before they leave. And this was really funny to me. They both choose the opposite person that blocked them. So Ruksana goes to see Daniel and Rachel goes to see Nick. I'll talk about Ruksana and Daniel's and you can talk about the Nick and Rachel one. So with Ruksana and Daniel, basically it was everything that I could have wanted when it comes to these 2. I feel like Daniel as a player was not doing it for me this season, but anytime they focused on him and Ruksana, I instantly liked him more. And that's why it also really sucked.
Yeah, I did like his friendship with Ruksana, but he obviously wasn't my favorite in the game. But I don't hate him as a person. I just find him kind of annoying at times.
He's definitely better than like Nick.
Oh yeah, he's way better than Nick.
Yeah, for sure. So basically, Daniel meets with Ruksana. She's at first very happy to see him, but very fired up over Nick blocking her. He's also shocked that he didn't block Kay and doesn't understand how she's a bigger threat, which, I mean, I really don't think she was. But they also discussed how Nick now has a huge following because of him being the underdog. Daniel's unsure what to do with Vince and if he should bring him in. And Ruksana says they need to break up the trio of Nick, Isabella, and Ashley, especially with both Ashley and Isabella making cakes for him, which, okay, the cakes are playing a bit more of a role into this than I thought, which is cool. I thought that was just going to be like a filler thing, but they actually are playing a legitimate role, and that's something I was
Welcome to Cake Boss.
The Circle Cake Boss. The Circle Boss. There you go. The Circle Boss. But Ruksana says she's rooting for him to win, and he says that he will make her proud. I thought this was a really wholesome meetup between the two. I really enjoyed the mother and son dynamic that they had. Correct me if I'm wrong, but before she left, he did refer to her as mom, and I thought that was really sweet. So
it was, yeah, it was a really just sweet and wholesome and pure moment.
Yeah, I really enjoyed their bond a lot. I thought it was probably one of the more genuine parts of this season. I didn't like it as much as I like Kay and Calvin, but I do think that those two are a really, really sweet bond that I enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
So then on the flip side of things, we have Rachel and Nick, which you're going to talk about.
When Rachel meets with Nick, he is shocked she isn't real, and she explains how her whole profile was accurate except for the name. But she felt if she came in, people would assume she was a dumb blonde. Nick then also takes this time to reveal the fact that he is also Vince, which is what she is surprised over, considering she felt the stuff Vince said during his ghost story was too specific to not be real. Rachel brings up Rachel brings up how things are going with him and Isabella, and he brings up how close they've gotten, and she says she wishes that he flirted with her, and he says he would have done the same, and she feels he could very well win this game. Hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it.
He lets her know that they absolutely will be hanging out after this, and it seems like he, as expected, is really into her and should absolutely gone in as herself.
I mean, this is what we expected. He's basically just flirting with her the whole time. She seems into it. I'm sure the two of them are probably going to date after the season, and great. Great for them.
Great, sure.
But
I mean, Nick literally flirts with everyone. I can see him either being with Rachel or Ava.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see either one of them. Honestly, I see him more with Ava than Rachel because I feel like Ava's more insufferable.
True.
But yeah,
good for them.
Rachel, she should have gone in as herself, 100%. She should have gone in as herself. She would have done so much better, but that was not the case. And because of that, she did not do very well. Not very well at all.
Yeah. Isabella is sad Jackson is gone since he was such a consistent ally. Nick feels he is in a very strong position and that Vince has absolutely done his job. Kay feels the game has completely shifted at this point and is grateful for Nick and Daniel. From here on out, she wants to work with them with the closest. However, Daniel seems dead set on taking out Nick.
As he should, to be honest.
Ugh, I know. The newsfeed is updated with messages from both Rachel and Ruksana. In Ruksana's message, she brings up how genuine she's been the whole game and made sure she was honest with everyone. And she says she will miss some of them, and Nick gets the sense she is very bitter at him.
Which, I mean, they're lucky there's not a jury in this game because I don't think she would be very kind to him if there was.
No.
She is not happy at all. I really got the sense that she was, very hurt by what he did here, which makes sense. I don't think she was ever targeting Nick. I don't think that, he was on her radar at all. So, this really was just such, a, unprompted sort of,
I know.
Yeah, it just felt like a resume move.
It did. Excuse me.
Did you burp?
Yes. In Jackson's message, Rachel reveals who she really is and that she's always stereotyped for being the blonde girl that is mean and dumb, and she isn't either of those things. She feels that despite being catfish, she's more genuine than a lot of people in the game right now.
Which, I guess, but like she was so vanilla. Literally, Rachel was just so vanilla this entire season. She never really showed any of her real layers. She never really tried to dive deeper into who Jackson could be. I think the whole thing was just such a mistake. And like, I get it that she went in like with her real occupation and things like that, but she just did not play into it well at all.
Yeah. Sophia feels this will take the heat off of her also being a catfish, which Sophia's another one. Also, Sophia being is another one that I wish went in as herself.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in the later episodes.
Yeah. She sends a message with how shook she is about Jackson not being real. Nick brings up how bad he feels about blocking Ruksana, but he couldn't be happier with everyone who was still here, and it really just came down to him having the weakest connection with her. While everyone seems to understand, Daniel doesn't buy into any of it.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel's just really gung-ho for Nick at this point, and I thought it was going to work. Like, I thought he was going to finally... I'm like, Daniel's like playing the game. I'm here for it because I didn't really feel like he was playing the game up to this point.
Yeah, same. Nick then reveals that Rachel came to see him, and Sophia is happy because she feels he and Rachel would be very good together, but it makes it seem like she is jealous as Isabella.
I do think this was a good move from Sophia because I do think like Isabella would naturally be jealous in this situation. So I do think that was a good like play by her.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, you know, should have gone as yourself.
Exactly. James is very much onto the fact that Isabella is in fact a catfish. Well, at least his reads are good.
He really wants her out. Keep that in mind a little later.
Yeah, his reads are good, but like his moves later on, yikes. Once the circle check closes, they start to realize Vince's profile is blurred out, and then they get an alert that Vince has left the game and are then told he was never a real player and was a burner profile for someone still left in the game. Okay, I did not like this twist. I thought it was way too overpowering.
Like, what was the point of this? Literally, what was the point of this? If you're not going to stick with it.
It just gave Nick even more power.
Yeah, no, that's literally what this was. And like I said it last week, if Kay had gone this, I would have said the same thing. It gives someone an unfair advantage as long as you are like, you know, well, as long as you are like level-headed and you're like, you know, a good game player, you use this and you use this to your advantage. You rank yourself in number one every single time. You hype yourself up. Like there is no scenario where this isn't an overpowered advantage, and it just should not have ever been a thing. Like this is one of those things where they really should not have. They needed to tweak it. They needed to tweak it if they really wanted this to like be a fair and effective twist. But I mean, really, at the end of the day, this serves like no purpose at all.
Agreed. Daniel thinks this could be Ashley, knowing that she would know a lot about Boston. Sophia feels it could be Hey.
Oh my god.
It's me getting Kay and Daniel's names wrong.
And you also said Kai again.
That's what I said. I keep on saying
I do want to bring this up because this was something that was. I do want to bring this up because this was like
Sophia
really bothering me.
Okay.
What?
But anyways, what?
Oh, I do want to bring this up because this is like really bothering me this week. Is like Sophia's entire game, I feel like, has been targeting this like black woman for no reason, and it very much does feel like a microaggression at this point. I don't feel like she knows that she's doing that, but it very much is, because it's like, you're targeting her, you're saying that she's, you know, Vince, you're saying that she's a catfish, you're just going after her for no reason, and it just makes it not fun to watch. And I really wanted to like Sophia, but I just am not a fan of her gameplay at all.
No, that's just really gross.
Yeah.
Kay and James both seem onto it being Nick, which they're correct.
Yeah.
Nick is very unsure what he's going to do with Vince gone.
I don't know, maybe play the game like fairly.
Literally, right? Kay then makes a chat with Nick and congratulates him on being an influencer and appreciates him for saving her. he feels like they could be a great unlikely duo moving forward. She then brings up Vince, and he says he thought it was her at first as a way to spy on them, and she brings up how much Vince hyped him up and baked him a cake.
And I will say, I don't like Nick, but this was the best move for both of them. Absolutely. Because like they are absolutely, I think, like the two front runners right now. They're absolutely playing the best games. I think that they needed to stick together because one of them was probably going to go out the next round if they didn't. So I think that, you know, the two of them working as closely as they did together is probably the best possible thing they could have done. So I was very impressed by this. Again, even though I really don't like Nick at all, I do have to give him credit for like actually wanting to lock something down with Kay and not just like being so gun-ho about targeting her. I was worried that was going to like be his game, but that seems to be a lot more of Sophia's game. His game actually, I feel like he's actually made like some good moves, and I feel like this was definitely one of them. So I will definitely give him credit there.
Yeah, like I just don't really like that. I just don't like that the season's been like the Nick show.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not here for that either. But James then makes a chat with Ashley and asks what he's what's going on within the circle right now, with two people getting blocked and now a burner profile. Matthew also seems very confused with what's going on. I will say I liked Matthew more this time around. I liked him this week. I thought he actually had some really good moments, and I would be okay with him potentially winning this game in the end because I do think that he is a likable personality overall. But he also seems to trust James and feels that using this piece of information and giving a genuine answer will actually do him a lot of good. And he says that he has suspicions that it could be Isabella, and he seems to agree. So he then brings up something that he's wanted to talk to her about, and he brings up how he loves how much pride she has for her community, and that he is a trans brother and has seen firsthand how cruel many people can be, and that no matter what, he will be her ally for life. And this was just such like a sweet conversation. You can really see, I feel like James is just such a genuine guy, and that's why he's so frustrating to watch because like
I think he's just too nice.
Oh yeah, he's so like sweet and genuine. I think that's really gonna bite him in the ass at the end of the day. But I just really
like he just doesn't really he's just someone who doesn't really play hard because he is too nice.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so. So we then get introduced to the final new player of the season, which let's get into it. We need.
Okay, well, I will say it is a little bit late to have an intruder, but I do really like her.
Yeah, I want to talk more about how I feel about that at the end of this because of what ends up happening. But we do meet Jacki. She is 33 years old. She lives in LA. She's big into video games. She's actually like hosted like a bunch of them, and her entire apartment's like full of video game stuff. She's 6'2". She has struggled with her height for a while, but she's learned to love herself for it and plans to embrace that within the game. She wants to try to flirt with as many of the players as well, and also hopes to be someone that can learn everyone's strengths and weaknesses and be cutthroat and ruthless. And she then takes a picture of herself, making sure to show off all of her strengths. And what do you think of Jacki?
I love her. Like, I just had good vibes with her from from her intro. And she just seems very genuine and just very sweet and fun.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. I thought that it honestly really annoyed me that she in general, it really did annoy me that they waited this long to like bring her onto the show because I feel like she's probably one of the more likable people we've had all season. I really like her energy a lot. I think she is very sociable, very fun, just a really, really fun to watch. I really enjoyed her presence a lot throughout this entire throughout this entire thing. So I was very pleased with Jacki overall. I think that she definitely played a really, really strong game, but they all look through Jacki's profile and she brings up how much she loves video games and anime. And Sophia knows that she's going to have a lot in common with her girlfriend. And so she may be able to sneak that in there. However, that isn't really true for Isabella. Once again, we see another reason why Sophia just should have gone in as herself. They could have bonded over that, but because she's not herself, they can't do that. So I know. Again, another very bad move for Sophia. So James also feels that he can bond over their LA connection. And once the circle opens up, everyone's fighting for her attention. Like literally everyone wants to be Jacki's best friend. Once again, the band is very annoyed with how Kay immediately tries to strike up a deal with Jacki. James and Nick are also seeming to like fight over her as well. Again, just kind of really fun to watch. Just them constantly just like fighting over her. We then get what I think is like easily the best game of the entire season. I really like this game a lot. You guys know I don't like the games in the circle, but this one I really loved. It's basically called Circle Fortune. And basically what it's going to be is Jacki is going to ask them all questions. First one being directed at Nick for his most disgusting habits. And immediately he's flirting with her, and I'm just like, what are you doing at this point?
Are we shocked?
Why are you? Yeah.
It's honestly take a shot whenever Nick flirts with anybody,
or take a shot whenever Matthew calls him Daddy Nick.
Oh god, that's so cringy.
It really is, but he does it every time. She then asks Ashley who she's been watching because she trusts her judgment, and basically kind of forces Matthew to reveal his cards a bit. And he sends an angry emoji to Kay, thinking that she's a little too focused rather than making connections, which focused on catfishes rather than making connections, which he really doesn't care all that much about. I think this was good for him because he did give a genuine answer. And I do think he definitely answered this question correctly. But then we get to the really big one where Kay asks what she would spend her money on. And we get this story where she brings up how she has someone very close to her suffering from mental illness, and she wants to bring them to a facility to help rehabilitate them and would like to help her parents with a down payment on a new house. And everyone seems like very impressed by her response overall. So she then asks James who he feels is the most likely catfish, and everyone, including him, is like really freaking out what to say. And then we get to episode 10, and we get to see what he reveals here. He does bring up Isabella, which I didn't know if he was going to. I legitimately didn't know if he was going to do it, but he does bring her up and how she comes off way too perfect in conversations, and he finds that super calculated. For some reason, Sophia's annoyed about this, and I don't know why. Like, she should have known that he was going to say that. But basically, she rationalized it by saying that he did it just to protect Kay and is very unsure how to go about it moving forward. Nick feels that after this, she is a big target now, and they need to stick together in order to save each other. So basically, after being called out by Ashley, Daniel does decide to message Kay, and he tells her that he has no idea where her animosity came from, and she thanks him for reaching out, and she says that she's also unsure. She says that the last time they talked, she felt they had formed a sisterhood, but maybe it was all in her head, and that Ashley's behavior changed once she became an influencer, and Daniel agrees with this, and he feels that now it's finally time to show a strategic side, and basically tells her that he feels there is an alliance that's against them, and that they need to band together in order to keep themselves safe. Kay brings a pulling in Jacki since she seems to be bonding well with James, and Daniel feels that this could really change the game if this alliance is made. And yeah, I really enjoyed this conversation a lot. Like I said, I like that Daniel was way more strategic in this episode, especially with Ruksana gone. It was really good to see.
Yeah, that was a really great moment because he actually really was playing the game.
Yes.
Oh, James flirts a bit with Jacki and compliments her for hosting the game, and he says that though he is married, his wife told him to do what he's got to do to win. And he brings up how she feels about Isabella and Nick and how close they are. She brings up how tough tonight was and how shocked she was by his answer, and asks who she needs to be watching out for. And he brings up how Isabella is not what she thinks she is, and while she's nice, he doesn't trust her motive. She is unsure who to trust after this, but seems to vibe well with James. She asks him what is going with Ashley and Kay, and he says that they both are very trustworthy. Both of them are butting heads, but to stick with Kay since she's been loyal and honest. This seems to be great for both of them.
Yeah, I really like their bond a lot. This is one of the reasons I really like Jacki, is just because I really liked her bond with James. I thought that it was very genuine.
Oh, I love their bond.
I feel like these two are absolutely going to be like best friends after the season. They seem like they connected really well together. And I was like, this is perfect for James. Like, he now has this ally that he didn't know like was going to show up, and now he has her in his back pocket, and like they are very close after this. Exactly. So I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of questionable what he ends up doing later on. But right now I was like, okay, James, I like this. You're doing a good job putting in that social work. This is good.
Yeah. The players then get an alert that the circle is now complete for the season, and from this point forward, there will be no new players, and one of them will be the winner. Nick talks to the band. Nick talks to the band and says that the Circle of Fortune made it very clear James and Kay are gunning for both of them. And Ashley suggests bringing in Jacki, and Nick agrees she is the most important person to align with right now. Meanwhile, James talks to Kay and Daniel in an alliance called Viva la Revolution and brings up how the two of them have been his priority from the beginning. Kay then brings up the plan to bring in Jacki. She then gets added to both groups and simultaneously, and notices
so
the divide.
Funny, the way that
and she notices the divide between them and realizes she has to pick a side. She does ultimately decide to go with Kay, James, and Daniel, which is the best move.
Oh yeah.
She then lets them in on exactly what is going on, and James brings up the other side. He brings up how Ashley has flipped sides several times. Isabella is obviously a catfish, and Nick openly flirts with her when he's confessed his love for Isabella, and she really feels good with how straight up James is with her here. Daniel loves the fact that the three of them are straight shooters, and he feels like he's back in high school and they're the outcasts. He also brings up how untrustworthy that group is. Jacki is very much feeling like she picked the right group after this, especially after all of the high school bullshit with the other group is starting. The band is outraged when she declines. The band is outraged when she declines their invite, but assumes Kay was able to get her to her first, which was actually James.
Yeah, it was James. Again, just giving Kay all the credit. I mean, I'm here for it, but I don't like the microaggression.
I just thought it was hilarious when it says Jacki has declined the invite.
Yeah, it was so funny.
And then Nick was just like, why?
Yeah, he was like, why? What the hell? What's going on? Like, he was so outraged. Anytime something doesn't go his way, he's like so upset.
So funny. Sophia seems to finally recognize that though she's been gunning hard for her, she's never actually talked to Kay and decides to fix that. She brings up how much she wanted to work.
Finally.
Yes. She brings up how much he wanted to work with her from the beginning, and Kay doesn't buy into it and finds it mostly tactical. Sophia realizes how she has targeted her for no reason when she really just wanted to be her friend. Kay brings up how she feels bad, she had a bad day and hopes she's feeling better. And Sophia brings up how much she's lost herself in the game and gets caught up. And that's exactly what she's done. Kay realizes that she's very much just listened to what others have said and run with it instead of trying to get to know her. Kay thanks her for clearing the air and respects her honesty, and Sophia tells her how great of a game she's playing and hopes that she can sit next to her at the end. I really like this moment a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I liked this a lot. My thing was just like, I'm glad that Sophia recognized that, like, I should not be going for Kay. There's no reason for me to be gunning for her. But I do feel she did this way too late. Like, this definitely is something she should have recognized way earlier in the game. And I feel like at this point, like, it's just not salvageable to really, try to solidify anything there.
Exactly. But I'm just glad, like, they at least cleared the air.
Yeah, I'm glad that she at least recognized that, like, yeah, I should not be doing this. This does not look good. I'm glad that she recognized that. And I think it's good. I just wish that she would have done it a lot sooner, because I think there is a world in which these two probably can work together, but because of the fact that he was so focused on targeting her, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Nick makes a chat with Jacki, and he starts off by bringing up how he's also 6'2", and she bonds with him over being a musician, which he can't actually relate to. She brings up what happened with the group chat and how she was in fact out to 2 chats at the same time, and she knew they'd end up talking regardless. He tells her it's a very tricky situation and she shouldn't worry about it, and he proceeds to flirt with her, and they seem to bond pretty well.
I mean, again, Nick does what he does best, just flirting with women. I thought it was really funny when she brought up like something music related and he didn't know what she was talking about. That's just like not not come into play at all. I keep waiting for like that to bite him in the ass. Like I want a moment like season 2 with Jack where it's so obvious that like it's like not real and not truthful to like who he is. But we have not gotten that this season, and that's been kind of disappointing because I want to see something like that happen. And I thought it was going to happen to Nick, and unfortunately it has not happened yet. So, yeah. So now it's time for the players to rate each other, barring Jacki since she is a new player. Jacki does get to rate people, obviously. We do get to see a couple of her ratings. She puts James at number 1 and Ashley at number 5. Sophia puts Daniel at 4 and James at 5. James puts Kay at number 1 and Nick at 5. Nick puts Ashley at number 1, Isabella at 2, and Daniel at number 5. Daniel puts Nick at number 5. Matthew puts Nick at number 1, Isabella number 2, and Kay at number 5. Kay puts James at number 1, Isabella at 4, and Ashley at 5. So again, nothing too surprising here in terms of the ratings overall, but the official rankings
pretty straightforward.
What?
Oh, I just said it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, so the official rankings do come out, and they are as follows. We have Isabella all the way dropped down to 6, which I was really shocked about that she went that low. We have Daniel at 5, Ashley at 4, and then I was praying that Kay would be in those 2 slots, but she did get 3. Nick's an influencer again. It happened again. He's not Vince. It happened again. It was,
but at least James was 1 and not Nick.
Yeah, James was number 1, which I was happy about. And I was like, okay, James finally gets to like make a move here. He's going to get Sophia out. It's going to be so good. Not exactly what happens. We do get to the hideouts, and we see it's kind of a tricky situation because they know that no matter what, one of them is going to lose an ally. And so you can see that they really are trying to push hard here. James immediately brings up Kay and how strong of a connection that they have. And Nick brings up how while he respects her game, he feels that she's the biggest threat left in the game. And James basically then brings up Isabella and a little of a connection that he has with her and that she's overall a mystery in the game. Nick just rules that out immediately. Like, she's not an option. We're not going for her. I do think James did a good thing here by making this deal with him where it's like, okay, you're not going to block Isabella, then I'm not going to, like, if you're not going to block Kay, I won't block Isabella. I thought that was a good deal. I like that they, were able to agree on that together. I'm glad they were able to pat that down. What I have issue with is what happens after this, because basically now James is conflicted. He has Ashley and Daniel left. Nick brings up how trustworthy Ashley's been, and he then brings up how Daniel has been playing the middle and that he has a much stronger relationship with Jacki, and basically lies to him and says that Daniel has an alliance with him and things like that. Which, I mean, good play by Nick. Like, he was trying to generally deceive James here, but if I'm James in this situation and, Kay just was bullied by Ashley and Ashley just called her out on not caring about the game, not caring about making connections, knowing how Kay reacted to that, I very much want to go for Ashley here. I'm dead set on gunning for Ashley. So for some reason, he's conflicted. He still isn't sure if he wants to block Daniel. And basically, eventually, it seems that they are going to agree upon it. And sadly, this does result in Daniel getting blocked. So let me recap. James just blocked his own ally. He basically was coordinated doing it. He does block Daniel.
Okay, I will say, Daniel was not my favorite, but he was on the good side, and
he was on the side I was rooting for.
He had James's back, so he should have fought a little harder.
Yeah, and this very much upsets him in Case, and she has just lost another alliance member, which Kay has just been so fucked over, Calvin.
I know,
and then
she's getting so defeated. Kay's getting so defeated.
Yeah, not going well for her at all. But it's a testament to, I think, why she should win this game, because she's losing all these allies, yet she still remains.
Yes.
So basically, Daniel's also unsure why he didn't fight for him and that this doesn't make sense for his game. So he feels he will lose trust with Kay and Jacki. And really is no one after this. He feels this was a game-ending move for Daniel, or not for Daniel, for James, which is not exactly true. We'll get into what actually happens, but I was honestly surprised by who he went to meet. He actually goes to meet Sophia, which I guess he did because he wanted to confirm that she was a catfish, and, he's able to do that. Basically, she explains who she really is and that she chooses to be her based on her being the beautiful blonde girl and that she can get people on her side easily, which has been really cringy for her since she's a lesbian, has had a girlfriend for 3 years. Daniel lets her know that he feels Ashley's going to tank her game and that James had an alliance with him and still was okay with saying him out and wants her gone very badly. So he also lets her know that Nick is the biggest threat and she should rate him last and all the guys should in fact be taken down. Does she listen to this advice? We'll get into that, but he's going to try in his goodbye message to make it seem like she is in fact real. I liked this interaction between them. I didn't think it was anything that great. I was very surprised he went to meet her. Also was surprised that he had her back here. I thought he would now.
Yeah, I was actually surprised he went to go see her too, but I think it was just because he wanted to be petty and give a lot of tea.
Yeah, I think he also just wanted to see if she actually was a catfish, because I think he had a suspicion. I just thought he was going to see Kay or James because he was mad.
Yeah.
But no, a good interaction overall, though. So the next morning, James feels like this was the right decision. He thinks this was a good thing to do, and he needs to make sure that Jacki is still with them. They do get a goodbye message from Daniel, and he brings up that he is in fact real and that they should take anything from his blocking. Not everything is what it seems, and some people don't have his back, and it's going to cost them the game. But he does keep his word, and he acts like Isabel is real, which I will give him credit for that. He definitely did have her back there. I don't really know if he needed to, he's not in the game anymore, but I like the fact that he did generally have her back. So Jacki does bring up how upset she is that Daniel's gone and that she felt very protective of him. And Kay agrees how much she will miss him. James knows that the damage is pretty much done and he now needs to repair his relationships. So he brings up to them how tough this blocking really was for him overall and that he really didn't want to have to make this decision. Nick then brings up the tough conversations that they had, and Sophia then brings up how Daniel went to see her, which everyone is surprised by. Again, everyone is so fucking open about everything when it comes to who they met.
I know.
I don't understand this season. They've done that every single week. They're like, oh yeah, he came to see me. She came to see me. Why are you being so honest about that? But whatever. Matthew then decides to bring up how they should all send new pictures of themselves. They then go ahead and send fun photos of themselves. James, however, then takes the opportunity, and we get to learn a little bit more about James. He has a grandmother that he's very close to, and they all seem to really enjoy this as a way to kind of put the game aside and just enjoy each other's company. I really like this a lot. I thought this was a good moment for James.
It was a very wholesome moment.
Yeah, especially with his grandmother.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and read more as I continue to lose my voice.
Oh no, drink some water.
Yeah, I'll try.
James decides to make a private chat with Kay in an attempt to clear the air. He brings up the deal that he struck with Nick in order to get her to the end because he had a better connection with her than Daniel. He said he sees her as a strong black woman, which she is his number one and always has been. She brings up she didn't know what his true intentions were, but now knows that he is truly authentic and she will trust him until they reach the end. He also brings up that how Nick wanted her gone at first, and she now feels he's the best connection she's had the whole game. I mean, I do really love Kay and James's friendship, but obviously it's not as strong as Kay and Calvin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not at all. I do enjoy that. I'm glad he had her back, though, because that is the one thing he does that actually makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I love that protection. I love their friendship.
Yeah, definitely.
Sophia reaches out to the band and brings up how happy she is and that he kept her here. And Nick brings up how exhausting it was to fight for both of them. But the band lives on. Sophia knows that while she's happy what he's done for her, she will do what she can in order to win. The players then engage in...
I don't really think she does, because she doesn't stick to what Daniel told her to do.
I know. The players then engage in a game called Circle Yearbook. Another one of your games that you hate.
Oh yeah, I love this so much.
They each get to vote for someone in each superlative. Class Hottie goes to Isabella, Class Clown goes to James, and Circle MVP goes to James and Nick.
Cool. Move on.
As a result, for everyone filling out the yearbook, they all get to attend the Circle prom. Matthew then decides to start a chat with Kay. Matthew then decides to start a chat with Kay to hopefully win back some trust after calling her rival. And he says that she really never has been her target alone rival and didn't deserve what he said to her in that game. She seems very touched by this, and she says she accepts her apology, and Matthew admits he was just threatened by her energy more than anything. And this seems to really help both of them move forward, which this was actually a really good moment.
Yeah, this was a really good moment for Matthew. I think he very much could have gone out here if he didn't do that because of just how hurt Kay was by like what Ashley said to her. So I do think this was a really good moment for him, and I do think it could definitely like be something that could help him win the game. So, and also help repair his friendship with Kay because he generally did respect her.
I don't hate Matthew, the idea of Matthew winning. Like he was kind of boring, but he had like a very under the radar game.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think definitely like there's definitely worse people that could win right now. I would definitely be down
like
for Matthew.
I mean, actually, yeah, technically, Nick is like the only one we don't want to win.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to Matthew, though, like we haven't been that high on him, but I think what he's done a good job with is he's played the game for himself, like the catfish, especially. Like he hasn't cared about that. He's cared more about just like who's a threat to his game. So I like the fact that he did generally try to like, you know, make some amends with Kay here and like get back on her good side just in case like she's an influencer.
Mm-hmm. They then dance a night away and tell prom stories. Kay
and at first, I was like really fucking bored by this. I'm like, who cares? But then we get some good stuff.
Kay then shifts the conversation to what they would all do with the money. Matthew says he wants to help his mom in assisted living since she has lupus, help his sister buy a house, and the rest to start his private business for sensory processing disorders. Sophia says she wants to use it mainly to pay for college. James brings up how he lives with his grandmother and recently got fired at his family, and that his family isn't financially stable at the moment, and he would definitely use this to help his grandmother. Nick brings up how much his dad has sacrificed a lot for him, and he wants to repay him for it. And then Jacki brings up how And Jacki brings up how her brother died after struggling with heroin addiction 3 years ago, and it wrecked her and her family's life, and nothing they went through compares to it. She absolutely wants to give money to drug abuse prevention. They all congratulate each other in making it this far and seem to be touched by everyone's stories.
This was such a good moment. Like, I thought they did such a great job of like really getting us to understand why everyone wanted the money. I especially love Jacki's moment. Like we didn't know about that obviously. And like actually getting to see her just like, cause you could see how hard that was for her to like bring that up. I thought was just so good overall. I thought overall they did a pretty good job. I will say the one thing this season has not had that last season did is that there hasn't really been like that big story. Like, oh, I've been doing this from the beginning because of this. This is why I want the money. We're not really hearing that until now. And I feel like that's why there's a bit of a disconnect when it comes to this cast. It's like, we don't really know what their initial goal is, but now we do. And I think that's something that they did a very good job with here. So I really enjoyed this moment a lot.
Yeah, same. Like this was just a really like sweet and important moment that I just really love this.
Yeah.
Before everyone goes to bed, they are given an alert that tomorrow is the final blocking, and if they survive, they will be a finalist.
Yes, which let's get into the last episode here, which I'm not gonna lie, I do think is the weakest of the four.
Yeah, I agree. The players are given an alert immediately.
Hold on. You can keep talking.
You sure? I can wait.
No, you can go ahead.
Because I love you.
Love you.
Oh, we have one person watching. Hello. I hope you're enjoying this. We have one more episode to cover, episode 12, and then we're going to go watch the finale, and we'll cover that with some of our friends, like whoever can get on, and whenever we find the time, because everyone's very busy with their schedules and everything, so we'll find a time to cover it together, which I'm really excited about. And also stay tuned for the Big Brother finale with a bunch of our friends, and then meeting with Mally for more Dancing with the Stars, as well as Masked Singer predictions for any new ones, and more Survivor, and just everything is going to be amazing. And keep an eye out for apps being released for Spotlight on Friday. It's our org. It's our baby. So excited to finally host an org. I've never hosted an org or mini before. But this idea came from, I was supposed to create a Glee mini in the old Twitter community last year. So now it's going to be in this season of our org because it's Glee themed. Well, this season is.
You ever just take a drink of water and then it just fucking goes up your nose? Because that's what just happened to me.
Yeah. Oh, I was just updating the viewers, well, our one viewer, all of our episodes coming up and about our org.
Yes. A lot of fun stuff coming up. Definitely look forward to all of that.
And also, I did tell him, I texted him to get water in case he loses his voice.
I don't know what it is. I'm just very congested. But go ahead.
I hope you're not sick. You kidding?
I don't think I am.
I mean, hopefully you're okay.
I don't usually get sick.
I mean, me neither. Hardly. The players are given an alert immediately when they wake up and that they each will receive a message from home, which I love that.
Yes.
They all talk
and
in
I
the
love
main
that we
chat.
got to see the real we got to see the real Isabella. We got to see the real Ashley. That was really cool. Yeah. I liked that a lot.
I know, I love that.
Yeah.
They all talk in the main chat about how much they all need those messages, which is just another wholesome moment.
Oh, yeah.
Nick decides to make a group chat with both James and Kay. He brings up how him and James had such an honest and open discussion about everyone, so he knows them better than the rest of the players. He says he wants to ride with both of them to the end, and Kay doesn't buy into it at all, but respects the fact they want to keep her safe. It seems they are all set on going to the end with each other.
Which I'm definitely down for. I like the fact that they want to make this 3 a thing. That's definitely what I want to see. Obviously, at this point, I don't see many ways that Nick doesn't get to the end. So, as long as James and Kay are there, that's what's important.
Yeah.
And Jacki as well.
Oh, another game that you'll love. Just kidding. It's now time to play a new game in the circle called Savage Questions, which is pretty self-explanatory, although they will be asking these questions anonymously.
Legitimately, what was the point of this? Why are we doing this?
There was no point.
Who cares?
Nick asks Jacki if she's actually a video game or if it's a cover-up, and she brings up her favorite game this year. Ashley asks Kay who is least deserving of winning the prize money and why, which she at first doesn't have much of an answer to see, since she feels they all deserve it. However, she feels those would have overcome more of the circle's challenges. Deserve it more, and the person who hasn't been as long as there's the least. That was kind of confusing to read.
Yeah, I mean, I think she gave the best answer she could have there when it came to Jacki. That's probably the best thing you can say.
Yeah, I think so too. She doesn't really give an answer. She doesn't really give an answer as more of a cop-out. Yeah, Jacki is still very new.
Yeah.
She then asks Isabella if her circle fling with Nick is genuine or just gameplay, which she lies and says that it obviously is.
And just the grin on Nick's face is again, he thinks he's on The Bachelor.
Why didn't he just go on Love Island?
I know.
Or The Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah.
James asks a question, who Ashley is more loyal to, Nick or Isabella, and Matthew says that this is a real Sophie's choice, but he is unsure since he loves both of them and would have to flip a coin between them.
Again, all of these questions were bullshit, and there was no point for this at all because it didn't go really much of anywhere. But yeah, so that whole segment I thought was completely pointless. We do get this moment with Nick and Sophia that's kind of awkward because it's basically him asking her out on a date and saying like, oh, I'm going to take you to all these like restaurants and things like that. And Sophia brings up how she really hopes that they can remain friends after this, and they decide to invite Ashley to the chat. Nick praises her for how well she handled the savage question. They all feel good that the three of them will, in fact, be there together. All the hardships that they've made, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Like, I literally don't care about the band. They're like the worst alliance. They give me very committee vibes. I'm not going to lie to you. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of the band. Not a fan of the band at all.
Yeah. I mean, at least most of them are likable besides Nick.
Yeah, that's true. But it's similar because it's like, you know, an all-white alliance taking out minorities.
Gross.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yeah. So Jacki does make a chat with James and Kay, and they talk about the blocking, and Kay says that she's feeling anxious, but generally does feel good to be talking with her right now, and that she's been touched by things, how she is shared with the group, and she wants to see how she's feeling. Jacki brings up how she's very nervous, but she wants them to both get to the end. James says that this chat made him feel way better after tonight, and it seems like they all do have each other. They then get an alert that it's time to rate everyone, so again, Jacki does put Kay at 1, puts Nick all the way at 6. Kay puts James at 1. Sophia puts Nick at 1. Nick puts Ashley at 1. Isabel at 2 and Kay at 3. James puts Jacki at 2. I'm assuming you put Kay at 1, and then Isabella all the way at 6. And then Matthew puts James at number 3. So the official rankings do in fact come out, and they are as follows, except, there's no rankings for tonight because they do another really bad twist that I really hated a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. Every fucking twist they have done this season is so bad, and I hated this twist.
I don't like the twist at all.
Yeah, the 2 highest rated players are going to be secret influencers and not even know the identity of each other. And together they're going to like come together and block one of these players tonight. And like, I just don't know why they didn't do it the way they did it last season, where it's like you have one influencer, they meet them face to face. Like, it was so much easier that way. Yeah, like this point in the game, like what's the point of a secret influencer? Like what impact is that really going to have on anything?
No, for real.
Yeah, so once again, the thing that's really funny about this is that even though it's a secret influencer, it is the same exact fucking influencers as last round in Nick and James. And
okay, once again, I don't like all the power Nick has.
No, he's just constantly getting power, and I'm just like not here for it.
But I mean, good for James at least. Like he's he's actually like playing very under the radar because he's.
I don't know about that because of what he does next.
No, like because he's kind of playing the middle, but he's making very questionable decisions.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna have you read the rest of this so I don't lose my voice.
Okay. They head to the hangout and once again seem conflicted with what to do. Nick knows exactly who he needs to block, while James wants to block Isabella. Nick obviously deflects himself as an option, and Kay is also deflected. Nick says he likes James, but isn't sure if he can always trust his word. Nick then goes ahead and asks Ashley to throw the scent off of him and says that he loves Isabella and feels she could be a catfish, and James agrees. He also does think Ashley is the person he's talking to. Nick brings up Jacki.
I will say, that was kind of brilliant that Nick was like disguising himself as Ashley and like
it was
that he was Ashley, because he actually did have him fooled here.
He did. Well, good on him for that.
Oh yeah.
Nick brings up Jacki and says while she's very sweet and nice, he believes he has a connection with the other players, and James says that she has had some meaningful conversations and brings up how She may have been stepping on people's toes. He then tries to convince player B to block Isabella, since they only both seem to agree on her being catfish. And Nick immediately defends her, and this gets to James to realize it's Nick.
Which, again, it makes this whole thing so stupid.
Ugh. He asks who he would be most comfortable blocking, and Nick once again brings up Jacki, and James says that he's most comfortable blocking Ashley, and because he hasn't seen any growth from her. Nick brings up how Jacki hasn't really had to prove much because she hasn't been in the circle that long. After really struggling with their decision, everyone is given their alert, and James decides to be the one to deliver the news.
Which I don't know why, but he does anyway.
I know. He does the news for both. They are then told the news will be delivered face-to-face. James goes ahead and ends up blocking one of his only remaining Alliance members in Jacki.
Great move.
Again, he let Nick control him and basically manipulate him into blocking another Alliance member. So he just screwed over his game big time.
Yeah, at this point, I will be very shocked if James ends up winning this game. I feel like his win equity went way down here. And what really annoys me is that, he had such good reads this season. He was one of the only people, I think, this season to, have generally good reads, but he didn't do anything with them. He wanted to go for Isabella. He wanted to go for Ashley. I don't know why he didn't just do it. Especially this, you just knock on the door and just block them. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. That's all he's got to do. Just stick with his word.
Yeah.
They are then told the news. Oh, wait. Sorry. She is sad to see this, but is so happy with the experience she had and had so many instantaneous connections with many people, especially with him. He brings up how he's been in a relationship for 12 years and he wanted to have her back so badly, but it was a battle, but they decided she was limited by her time, and that's what caused the lack of connections with other players. She's happy with how much she was her positive self the whole time. He thanks her and the value she's given him, and he's happy she didn't beat him up when he walked in. They then all get the messages that they're officially finalists.
Which, yay. The final five is now James, Kay, Isabella, Nick, and who did I leave out?
Sorry.
Matthew.
Nick, Matthew, Isabella. Nick, Matthew, Sophia, James, and Kay.
Yeah, that is
basically
the final five.
I mean, technically I am happy with either person winning except for Nick.
At this point, first of all, I do want to say one thing. Can we please not have these late intruders ever again? Because this is what's going to happen every single time. If you have a late intruder in the game this late, chances are they're probably going to get blocked because they just weren't in the game long enough, and they don't deserve to be at the end. We had.
I feel like.
We had John, when it was Jack and Lisa at number 5 last year because they weren't in it long enough, and now we have
that was a terrible twist.
I hated that. And then we had Jacki getting blocked right before they got to the 5. It's gonna happen literally every single time.
I actually feel like if Jacki was in it way earlier, she probably could have been one of the possible winners.
Oh, I think she very well could have won. She was so likable. I don't think anyone really wanted to target her. I think if she's there a lot longer, she probably isn't blocked here. So yeah, I mean, it just really sucked to get rid of her. But at this point, I gotta be honest, I don't see many people who can win this game that aren't Kay or Nick. I just don't see it from a lot of these people. Sophia spent the majority of this game targeting someone that did not benefit her at all and not realizing that she should not have been doing that until way late in the game. James, I mean, literally just squandered any chance of him doing well. I feel like he has no win equity at this point.
James did very good socially, and he is very strategic. Just his moves were not good.
I guess it's really...
That's just because he let Nick control him.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on how they feel. What are they rating based on? Are they rating based on how they played strategically, how they played socially? Because if it's based on strategy, absolutely Nick or Kay is winning, 100%. It needs to be one of them. But if it's based on social, maybe James can win. But I feel like it's a very slim chance at this point. Matthew's a real wild card for me. I don't really know how they feel about his game. I feel like he's been very under the radar to the point where I still don't understand some of what he's done in this game rather than just be very loyal to like Nick and Sophia. The majority of the game really has just been people are loyal to Kay, people are loyal to Nick. That's been the entire game, and I think that's why it's been boring to watch. And if someone that isn't Kay or Nick wins, I will legitimately be shocked. Like, it will be the only shocking thing that's happened all season. So, yeah, I mean, what do you think heading into this finale? What are you thinking here?
I mean, I don't know who's gonna win, honestly. Like, obviously I want Kay to win.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't be mad with the James win because he also is like, he is also a minority and he's very nice.
Oh yeah.
I like Sophia. I just didn't like how she always targeted Kay. But I mean, I wouldn't be mad if she won. But
I just don't think she played a good game.
Her game was iffy at times. Matthew, I don't hate him. He was just kind of boring, but he did play a good game. And then Nick, I just don't like him. He played a good game, but he was like candidate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we'll really just have to see what ends up happening. I feel like it's pretty up in the air with who's going to win. It's probably going to be between Kay and Nick, but we'll get to see in a little bit, Allie. We're going to watch the finale after this, so we'll see who ends up winning there. Yes, other than that, that's it for our coverage of this week of The Circle. Is there anything else you want to say before we end this off?
Just hopefully this finale goes well, and I'm excited to cover it whenever we get the chance, just when everyone is available.
I hope it doesn't take us a month to cover it again, like season 2, because that took forever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so that's really it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in our next video, and we will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.
Bye.